if you talk about the concept of business analysis value spectrum, or the kind of from the problem space to the solution space, that one aspect. So you've got the problem here on one end and the solution on the other end, and then you've got these different design options, architectures in the middle, and design tending to the solution. That's one spectrum, one way of looking at the spectrum. Another way is looking at that is basically the the potential versus actual, in terms of the need and the solution scope requirement. This is actually kind of giving you the potential, whereas the solution is actually trying to give you the actual. You're trying to get to the actual shape of, or actually how the solution looks like and works like on the ground, in the hands of customers, in the ways that the users should really use on the on the way. That's what we call it as right place, right time, and right set of persons. So that's what we call it as the OPOPOD. So one place, one person, one time. Similarly, RP, RT, and RO. So right place, right person, and right amount of time. So the potential to the actual spectrum is pretty much similar. So your delivery of value is across, it's a continuum. It's not a single discrete value. You need to really go through this journey to be able to deliver from the need all the way through to the operating. So this is, you identify the needs, you come up with a solution scope, you create the set of requirements, you trace the requirements, you prioritize them, you analyze them, you then do the validation of the requirements, verification, and then once they're done, then you start with the design options, coming up with the design options, and then evaluate the design options, analyze them, and then come up with one potential solution, the best solution out of all those design options. And then you create your proof of concept or prototype based on that one particular design option. Then you pilot it and you release it as a beta. Then it goes into the operating mode, the production, or a live environment, and that's the actual. So if you see, this is pretty much how we get to do this. Even though it's important to note that it might seem as a linear thing, one after another, but you could potentially have these as loops, as a continuous loops in the agile. So in the context of, that's why it's iterative. So sometime you come to this stage and you find that you have actually got some changes in the needs, or you've got to do something, then you go back again, quickly make this, and then you come back to this design, you improve the design, you create the POC or the prototype based on that design only, and then you deliver. So this way, it's not really linear, it's not one after another, but it's actually kind of cyclical. It's more of a loop. It can go in circles, and in so doing that, you're trying to actually improve the product, continuously improve your process, and make it really stronger, better, and delivering quicker value quicker. Very, very important. So in terms of the perspectives of different evaluation of the solution, so you've got the savings in cost. You need to understand that cost is a significant parameter that you need to consider when you talk about larger enterprise-wide solutions and things. So one aspect is how much of savings in cost could you accomplish when you try and look at alternative solution options, right? And then how much of turnover increase could be looked at. What is the turnover at the moment? What is the potential increase in the turnover when we adopt this new solution? What could be the impact on the sales? What could be the impact on the revenues, on the customer base, on the profitability, on the satisfaction? So all of these, what if none of this is there? If it is something to the compliance project, then it must be done. There's no option for us to say, can we do this? Can we not do this? Because it must be done. In which case we have got to go about doing that, because we're bound by the regulatory requirements to deliver that, and that's why we need to do that. So irrespective of whether it's a compliance requirement or it is the typical corporate requirement, we need to really look at it in the context of several perspectives: the cost perspective, the savings, and then the profitability, productivity. Increasing the productivity, for example, for employees is another thing, right? So all of that need to be kept in mind. Unclear or incomplete requirements lead to unsatisfying. Very, very important, because as I mentioned about the Standish Group report, about 75% of the projects fail because of requirements not being clear, not communicated well, not specified well, not managed properly, not handled properly in terms of the changes in the requirements, not scoped well. All of these, everything is bound to do with the requirements. 75% of the projects fail at, because of the requirements issues. It could be all of those that we discussed. So it's very, very important that we have a firm grip in terms of how we are managing our requirements, how we are developing them, how we're specifying, communicating, how we're tracing them, how we're prioritizing them. So it's really, really important, in the context of a business analyst, how we should try and deliver value to the project and what areas we should try and focus on. So that's the kind of set of activities we do, and the objective of this knowledge area called solution evaluation.